Wow.
So the movie opens up in northern Iraq.
Stop! Welcome to Smash Right. I'm Paul. This is Justin.
Override that intro by just jumping right into the notes.
Today we are reviewing The Exorcist, and I'll just let Justin finish. Go ahead.
So we open up at a dig in northern Iraq, and you find a Pazuzu. I use the word Pazuzu a lot. They don't actually call them Pazuzu.
What did you call him?
Nothing.
Thought the demon had a name.
He does, but I think that actually comes in a sequel. I think I jumped ahead.
No shit. Okay.
But anyway, he finds his head and he snaps it off. And you see him later on, he's trembling, he's taking meds, and he fucks about the desert. And you jump to Georgetown. You're laughing. What's that say?
He fucks with the desert.
And we see Mama and Reagan. And we find out Mom's shooting a movie. And we see Father... I can't write that. Father Swindler walking by, and she walks home because she must have a 2+ hour. We see her walking all the way home because we just have to have a 2+ hour movie here.
My God, just keep going because your description of this plot. I don't know if it's hilarious or on point.
But you get Reagan talking about Captain Howdy, her imaginary friend, and she's been playing around with the Ouija board. And, I remember. His name. What I've been calling the priest. Well, I'm continuing to call him the priest. Father Skydive. Working an assignment. He's trying to get reassigned because he's lost his faith. How do we go from her screaming on the phone and waking up? Don't answer that. Waste of a scene.
My God.
The priest brings his mom flowers, and he did not put his left foot in and shake it all about, and I'm deeming this movie his fault. His mother was in the hospital, and then she was dead.
Oh my God.
Seriously, it went from the scene of her in the hospital to the party scene, and she's dead.
Your excellent breakdown of this character.
This is why I don't attend parties. I'm afraid someone will randomly start playing the piano. I piss on the floor to make them stop too.
What?
When has she been sick?
Yes, true. My God. Go on.
The neighbors aren't suspicious of the earthquake that's happening in a room.
Oh, you're... Go on.
The doctors believe that she's suffering a stroke and is hallucinating despite, the earthquake. And eventually, you really start seeing her become the demon, especially with the whole crucifix thing. And there's still questions beyond that point. Okay. But Father Skydive comes around. She goes again. And he doesn't believe it's a demon either, despite having the conversation. Right. But then eventually he does take his concerns up with the Cardinal, and they send Father Spooky. And they run the exorcism deck, and all that reading tuckered them out, because after a little bit they need to go to sleep. And
I'm catching your sarcasm after the fact because you're like
just completely deadpan now. It takes you a moment.
Well, no, the best part is you're all that reading they did must have tired them out.
So they needed a rest, but the Father Spooky goes in by himself, and of course he's dead. And Father Skydive attacks Reagan and starts punching the child in the face. And it's like, take me! And why the demon decided, okay, I've already got my win here. Let's jump into you now. And Father Skydive lives up to his name and jumps out of the window.
Father Skydive.
And why did the demon not just jump out of that body when he jumped out of the window? Whatever. End of the movie.
When you were watching this film, were you automatically thinking that?
Yes. It's coming to me as I watched it.
Okay.
I mean, you can even read all my notes. It's all there for writing. I didn't make it up on the spot.
No, he did not. He wrote down everything that he literally just said for the last couple of minutes. And how long was this film?
Too long.
Got it.
Too long. I think it's like an hour 40, hour 30.
No way.
It's actually not as long as I'm making it seem.
You gotta be kidding me. Like, he's looking up the exact time now because we like to make sure we're...
Hang on, I clicked on the wrong button. I clicked on Exorcist series and Exorcist movie. Come on. Love the piece of shit.
I feel like it has to be 2+ hours.
No, it's not that long. It's not 2 hours. Oh, no, it is. It's 2 hours 12.
Okay, now it feels like 3 hours.
I thought this was, shorter. I don't know why I thought it was shorter. That one movie just threw me off completely. But, yeah, when you picked this movie, I knew I was going to hate you forever.
You say that with so much passion.
I've seen this movie one time, and I'm like, I'm never watching this again. The amount of love this movie gets for almost no reason. We'll give them one thing, we'll get into that. But man, this is like, you just see all of the thumbprints other movies like The Conjuring stole off of this movie.
Yeah.
Now, at least this one had the balls to go dark. And it went some of
you got
like
punching a child, you got fuck me,
fuck Jesus, like me.
like me. I think, you know what? I think today's generation will probably just simply like those scenes.
Yeah, I think there are certain people who like that just out there and gross shit, and this movie gives it to you. And those scenes were good. Like, don't get me wrong, those scenes were good. But that's it. Outside of Linda Blair being possessed, this movie is boring, it's stupid, it jumps around, it makes no sense.
When we did our 70s and beyond horror, I gave it my number 1 ranking. I'm living to regret that. Because, this year when we were doing our list of movies to watch, and I put this down on the list to watch, and I fully watched it. Every movie that we do, I fully watch. Or else I don't do it until I fully watch it. We said this with the Puppet Master, too, and that is, it's not what I remember. Last time I really watched this had to be years upon years ago, and I'm like, okay, let me watch it to refresh my memory. My opinion of it has now changed.
Yeah,
over 2 hours long for a horror movie.
I mean, like, there's like,
and what? And you're stretching it out with filler.
Why is there? What is the point of the archaeological dig?
Yeah, there was
no ties to Father Spooky and the family until Spooky showed up.
You're such a dumbass. Spooky.
Like, there was no ties to this family and him. So what was the point of the archaeological dig?
Maybe it was his experience with.
She got the demon through the Ouija board.
I don't even see.
But then there was that Pazuzu head outside her house. How did the Pazuzu head get outside her house? Skydive, I think, saw it.
Skydiver. I don't know. There was definitely a lot of filler.
It's like, suddenly she's sick. When was she sick?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't introduce it until after she was on the floor.
And then you put her through all these tests, and they're like, oh, I don't know.
It's in her head. It's in her head. Like, the earthquake was in her head.
Which the mom experienced.
Yeah, the mom and the maid are like, no, that happened. Like, no, it's a hallucination. Again, there's a point where characters in movies are going to make stupid decisions.
Right.
They have to make the movie work. But it stops though whenever the characters are no longer stupid, but you're treating the audience like they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the idea of all this bed seizing on the ground, and you're looking at Reagan, the mom, and the maid all saying it happened, and the doctor going, it's a hallucination in your child's mind. What are you talking about?
Shouldn't the mom who got tested too?
Yeah, because at this point,
shook when I got in there.
Yeah, because at this point, you're just insulting your audience.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't have been that. This is the fuck you talking about.
It makes you hate though because they're puffing their cigarette like it's all in this girl's head, but the mom's and it's crazy because you have Linda Blair,
Yeah.
one of the better actresses.
Yeah.
She has awards and everything, and you think about like, oh, just imagine how the people in the '70s felt when they were watching this film.
Yes.
Now I get it that maybe in the '70s, like this church stuff was more authentic, I guess.
But here's the deal. I'm looking this up. 73.
What's he looking up?
3 years later, a better one came out. It's called The Omen.
Wow. And I see, like I said,
The Omen was so much better than The Exorcist was.
I value the since we've been doing this, it's been getting me to rewatching the movies, and this is just one of them that the length dragged. If you were to cut out,
but the thing is, it's like they needed to cut out stuff like archaeological. It had no ties to your movie,
right?
So why'd you have it? But then you had his mother, who seemed like her only problem was the broken leg.
Then somehow
it was crazy. All of a sudden, he's locked up in an institution for falling down a flight of stairs. Is it dead?
That's a lethal set of steps.
Like what? She was fine in the hospital. How did she die here? How many days passed?
Never make it clear.
And you had the one drunk guy who was like, "That's the mother. They're such a cute couple." He's like, Reagan's like, "You like him? When are you gonna like?" Insinuating, like, invite him out. And, like, the one time we deal with him, he's fucking drunk, a racist asshole. Yeah, let me root for that couple, why don't you?
My God.
Then he ends up dead. Like, how did he end up in her room? Why is he in Reagan's room?
Yeah, that's a bigger question.
I feel sad he's dead.
No.
You more or less insinuated that there was more evidence supporting him drunkenly falling down the stairs and Reagan pushing him out the window.
That is true. That is very true.
But I guess that's what you wanted. Like, maybe it's in her head. Like, no, you had the earthquake happen.
The only way you could play it as in her head is
if he died at the beginning.
Well, it's just not like her mom wasn't involved, but
yeah,
it's clear she runs in, and now after it's in her head. I swear this was before that. Like, didn't her mom see Reagan float up in the air?
No, I think that came later.
When it got deeper, okay.
That came when the doctors were there.
And they were like, damn, maybe it's in our heads.
And she was, like, flashing the moon.
Oh, yeah.
And she backhanded the doctor. And
it's crazy. I really do think this film's legacy, as we...
this is the worst thing about this movie, is the legacy this movie left behind. Because it has produced some of the biggest piles of garbage that I have had to hear people float like they're the best. Looking at you, Conjuring. Looking at you.
My thing is like...
there are positives here. I know.
He just threw his notes there.
I don't know where I put the positives.
Maybe because there really wasn't.
There were positives, if I don't find them, at least. Oh, yeah. Well, the positives are the song. I do like that song.
Okay.
And Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Her being possessed was really good. Especially after she killed Father Spooky. And Skydive came in the room and he's like, no! And he's holding Spooky in his arms and Reagan's just sitting on the bed like...
He said Dr. Spooky.
I'm sorry. Father Spooky.
Father Spooky.
Father Skydive was boring. The mother was alright. Like Linda Blair being the possessed demon.
I thought Linda Blair was the mom.
No, then Linda Blair was the Reagan.
Okay. I don't know why.
God, you're gonna make me look it up. I know it's shit.
I'm making Justin work, but I mean...
Oh, no. Linda Blair's Reagan.
Okay. Who plays the mother? Because she's another award-winning actress. I swear she is.
Ellen Burstyn.
Okay. I think she won a couple of awards, too, in the 50s and 60s. So let's put it. It had a cast, and it did nothing with the cast. And you're going to tell. I get it that like. I think the older this film gets,
Burns won Academy, Tony, two primetime Emmys, making her one of the few performers to achieve the triple crown of acting.
Okay, so
she's still alive.
How old is she?
89.
Oh, that's not really old these days. Well, for you. So you had a cast, but you didn't give them nothing, and I think honestly,
there were parts that didn't need to be there, parts that should have been there.
That wasn't there.
You had scenes that felt like if you were trying to go for like maybe is it in her head, you should have had.
You should have never had the mom in the same scene.
Yeah, the drunk being killed before the bed shaking.
Right. I think as time gets on, I think the legacy of this film is going to falter it.
No. This is still regularly voted as the scariest movie of all time and the greatest horror movie of all time.
I think the length hurts it then. Because if you want to say it's one of the greatest horror films of all time, after I've rewatched it now and it's fresh in my memory again, I disagree with that. I 100% disagree with that. And here's why. I think they put too much filler in to make it a longer film.
Yeah.
And now, had you cut that filler out and you like I said, you connected the dots where it needed to be connected, then we can talk maybe, top 5. But this is not even a top 10.
No.
And
I wouldn't put this top 25. Top 50? No.
Ranking it somewhere is going to really...
I'd put Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings above this fucking movie.
Hey, I love Blood Wings.
So do I, but still.
I give Pumpkinhead Blood Wings a great review, damn it. So...
You know what I'll tell you is the scariest part of this movie? It's up piano scene. That's frightening. I really would
That's singing?
I really would piss on the floor to make them stop.
Yeah, that was horrible. So, overall...
C+. No,
C? Wow.
C minus.
You know what?
C minus. Linda Blair. Linda Blair carried this to a C minus.
You know what? I'm going to say...
A lesser actor would not have been able to pull it off.
No, I agree with that. I am honestly giving it a C as well. I do think the scary scenes were good.
Oh, I will say the pea suit scene is blah.
I think it had a good enough scary scenes, but the problem overall is the pacing, the filler, and the time hurt it.
Treating your audience like they're idiots. Yeah. Not good.
If you wanted to keep it in her head, then you got to keep it by herself.
Yeah. You can't have everyone in the room while the earthquake is going on,
Yeah. So, that is our review of the so-called greatest horror film, The Exorcist. Until next time.
Bye-bye.